Okay, agenda item 8, which is the pension fund administration update, and I think we're passing over to Jenny.
Sorry, there is a private report within this, a private appendix.
Well, only if people wanted to ask questions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we should be all right.
It should be all right. Okay. So yeah, the recommendation is to note the performance and to accept the 2024-25 pensions administration budget.
Okay. Did anyone have any questions about this report? No, I think it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Obviously, thanks to colleagues, they're making a stronger performance, I think, than we've had perhaps at other times in the past. I know when I joined, we were perhaps not meeting targets, but I think we are really doing very well on that. Yes, Councillor Rice.
Thank you. I think it's on page 32 about the customer satisfaction scores. This seems really interesting that it looks like May 23 had quite a grim red line there, and then the following month in June didn't have a red line at all and the red line was to talk about dissatisfaction. So I'm just wondering as to what's actually happened, what kind of blip happened that in May everything seemed to go wrong according to what I can see here, and then in June it got an awful lot better. Just wondering, thank you.
Yeah, it was all to do with a change in the pensions administration system. They've changed from a system called Altair to UPM. And there has been recovery since then, but we onboarded into UPM quite early in the first tranche. But by the time they'd moved, they'd included the second tranche, then it did cause them some problems, and there were some delays, and they have had quite a high staff turnover as well, so they lost a lot of experienced staff during this period. I think a lot of other competitors were, seeking other LGPS experience officers, so they did lose some staff to their competitors, so it did have an effect on the retirements. And I think this is why the satisfaction had gone down. So it is picking up, which is still a bit slow. I wouldn't say it's perfect at this stage, but yeah, they are doing quite a lot to try and resolve the issues that they're having.
It just seems quite unusual, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, if there were no other questions.
Are you happy to accept the budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got no choice.
Yes, hold on a second. Yes, are we accept? Yeah, are we happy to accept the budget for 2045? Thank you very much. So it's having to flick through the different pages. Okay, so next agenda item 9, and we have the pension fund performance monitoring and update for the quarter ended 31st of December 2023, and I think it's Bridget.
Right. This is our regular quarterly update report. There is one bit which William will talk about, which is the update on Lothbury, which is the property manager that we have put our redemption into, and there's a lot going on there, so William will update on that. The only thing to approve is so what we started to do is the implementation of the strategy review. So the first stage is the private debt, which we've looked at. And one of the things we're doing is diversifying our existing private debt managers. So we have 3, and this is the 4th manager, which brings in a complementary strategy, UK focused. No need to hedge your currency, which is quite nice when you see the swings that happens in the currency. We've got 2 US and 1 European private debt manager. So it's the approval of the investment, taking that forward through delegation with the chair, working in consultation with the chair, vice chair, opposition spokesman, and our advisors, taking forward the investment of, you already know the amount, about 11 million, and working with our external lawyers to look at the documentation. That's the only recommendation. Otherwise, unless there's any other questions on this report, and you can take the questions after Philip has updated on Lothbury. Okay.
Councillor Rice.
Thank you. I was actually interested in the Bailey Gifford section. I think it's like paragraph 5, talking about China and it being a bit of a weakness in the portfolio. I'm just wondering really, how do people feel at the moment about China? Because I'm reading that that it just seems to be a big recommendation across people who know about these things, that really it's best to steer clear of China at the moment when it comes to investments and comes to pensions generally. I'm just wondering really how that affects us.
I think a lot of managers do have issues with China from a geopolitical perspective, but China still has a lot to offer. But maybe I'll throw it over to you. That's why we have you here.
Well, China has become a really huge part of the global economy, and it's hard to ignore it, even if you don't actually invest in China, because what happens in China affects economies all around the world. People are, right to be concerned about geopolitical risk. They're being cautious on that. They're right to be concerned about whether the assets they think they own, they will still own after the latest communications from the Communist Party. And then I guess the third thing that people are being cautious about at the moment is that the Chinese economy is relatively struggling. So it's still growing faster than us, but compared with what it's done over the last 20 or 30 years, it is growing much more slowly. And in particular, its property sector is really, really struggling. I think all those issues, risks are sort of now pretty well known risks. And as long as managers are navigating them carefully, I don't think we ought to be too worried about China, particularly because it's still a relatively small part of anybody's portfolios. But it is, it's obviously something of interest.
I don't see any other questions. Philip and Matt, did you want to add anything to what Bridget has said in general?
Just on
Yeah.